thoughts are consciousness, and in that sense, consciousness is the particle, is what creates the particle. Thoughts are the particle moving in a certain pattern within the matrix that makes you up. So thought, in a sense, is a side effect from consciousness experiencing itself in a certain geometric pattern that the particle takes in making you up. Is that clear? Thank you. Yes?
Hi. How does one get rid of thoughts that they don't like hanging around?
How does one get rid of thoughts they don't like hanging around? No one gets rid of anything.
Transform it.
Thank you. Transform. Yes. We will get to that as well. Now, Kirby, will you please go up to the board and remove paper number 2? What have we got? Creation is intelligent. This has been, oh, thank you. This has been a subject of controversy on your planet for quite some time. Is there a God? Is it intelligent? Now, when we say creation is intelligent, we're not talking about the euphemism exactly on your planet that is now more recently referred to as intelligent design. This is not a religious argument. The idea here is very, very simple. It is an idea of holism. It is an idea of understanding an extrapolation, an extension of what we have just explained about everything being one and the same thing. So, may I have a volunteer stand up? Yes? Speak up. All right, hello. I'm going to ask you a question. Are you ready? All right. The question is, are you intelligent?
No.
You had enough intelligence to say no. I didn't ask if you were smart. I asked if you were intelligent.
I would say I'm intelligence.
Thank you. You are an intelligence. You are aware, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. You may sit. Awareness and intelligence is what we are talking about. You are self-aware. You are an intelligence. We're not talking about the idea of the subjective point of view of how you may apply your intelligence. Whether someone may, quote unquote, judge you to be smart or stupid or what have you. It's not what we are talking about here. What we are simply talking about is the quality itself that you have intelligence. You are aware. Now, you are, all of you are, as we have just demonstrated, an aspect of creation. You're all the same one thing. If, thus then, any part of the whole has intelligence, intelligence is a quality of the entire thing. It's as simple as that. Imagine, if you will, an ice cube. Imagine that ice cube sitting on a table. You now have in your hand a hammer. Smash the ice cube. See the pieces go flying off in a number of different directions. Now, no matter how many pieces there are, every single piece is still made of ice, just like the whole cube. The quality of any piece, the quality of the ice in any piece tells you what quality must have existed in the entire cube to begin with. Thus then, when you talk about the concept of is creation intelligent? Is there an intelligence? Is it aware? It may not be the kind of consciousness you understand as human consciousness. It may be a very different expression. But the fundamental quality that you possess as a being is awareness and intelligence. That quality, therefore, exists by definition, by default, in the whole. How it may express its intelligence, again, may be very different than how you choose to express yours. But this is part and parcel of what we in our civilization call the science of the obvious. Let it be obvious. There really is no mystery here when you keep it very simple. When you understand the concept of holism, when you understand the concept that everything is actually truly made out of the same one thing, many other things we have talked about, many other metaphysical concepts, many other concepts that may at first seem mysterious are suddenly very obvious when you base them on the first understanding that everything is one thing. So again, to drive the point home, when you know everything is by definition made of one thing, then you can start to extrapolate some very simple conclusions. You are part of that whole. You are that whole. You are one and the same thing, made out of the same thing. The qualities you possess must therefore by definition be qualities that by definition the whole also possesses. Whether or not it expresses them in the same way is not the point. It still has that quality. So, creation has intelligence. Creation is aware. It is up to you, again, by forming your relationship, your personal relationship with creation, in your understanding that everything in creation is made out of the same one thing, to form your particular perspective of what that relationship will give you, of what communication will come between the intelligence in the way you express it and intelligence in the way creation expresses it. How you are a translation of the awareness, a translation of the intelligence of creation in a specific format, in a specific mode that is represented by your unique pattern the single particle takes when it defines you, the unique you that you are. You are resonating. You are that single particle resonating in a certain way, at a certain pitch, at a certain signature frequency, signature vibration that is you, uniquely you, and you alone. But that vibration is a part of the symphony of all vibrations that single particle creates in the orchestra of all that is. So you are one note. Many of you together are chords. All together you are the symphony of all that is in all the vibrations that it contains. So, you are music, you are awareness, you are intelligence. Being yourself to the fullest you can be is simply singing your song. That's all it is. You all have a song to sing. All you need to do is sing it, and you will be playing your part. You will be playing your instrument in the symphony of creation in the most harmonious, melodious way you possibly can. When you experience the idea of fear and doubt and don't necessarily allow yourself to be in harmony, you may now and then hit what you would perceive as a discordant note. That's all right. Again, as we have said, you can use that in a positive way as well. Bring it back into the fold and allow your song to be that much richer, that much sweeter, that much more in harmony with the overall symphony of all that is. Does that make sense? Excuse me? Thank you. Now, Kevin, would you please step up to the board and remove the third piece of paper? What did it reveal? Infinity. Thank you. Have a seat. Cody, step up to the board and remove the papers that are 3A and 3B. What have you got there? A kind of a formula. You may have a seat. Thank you. The formula, for those of you who are somewhat math-oriented, basically says in simple and obvious terms, infinity is greater than the finite. The finite is less than the infinite. That's all it says there. But the implications of that formula are profound. Here is how to interpret this from our perspective. Many people, again, for quite some time, have pondered, is creation infinite or is it finite? Which is it? Does it go on forever? Is it eternal? Or does it have a limit? Does it have a boundary? All right, a fair question. Who has an answer? Yes, and in what way? One's an illusion? Yes and no. One is contained in the other. Very good. The idea here is to understand the very concept of concepts. What we talked about last night of your time, the whole idea of imagining, and what you imagine is real, because you cannot imagine non-existence. So anything you imagine, anything you can conceive of, must on some level of existence be real somewhere. It may not be pertinent to your reality, but it is real somewhere because you cannot imagine that which is not. So anything you imagine must be a part of what is somewhere, somewhen, on some level. This equation keys right into that idea. You have in your head the concept of infinity. You have created this concept. As was pointed out, finite. The finite is contained within the infinite. The infinite is not conceptually contained within the finite. Thus, if both terms exist in concept, both must exist in reality. Because if infinity didn't exist, you wouldn't be able to conceive of it. Things simply would be finite. You wouldn't know them any other way. You would never be able to conjure up the concept of infinity. But because you have, it tells you infinity is real in your terms. And that thus the finite is contained within it, because if the finite were the real reality, the finite could not contain nor produce the concept of infinity. But since you have both of them, infinity and the finite, it tells you that infinity must exist, that creation itself is infinite, even while there may be aspects of it that express themselves in a finite way. Said another way, the concept of limits, the concept of beginnings, the concept of endings, and the concept of boundaries are all contained within the infinite. The infinite is not subject to them, because the infinite exists first. It is all that is. All that is. And thus then, any concept, a beginning, an ending, time, space, any kind of what you might refer to as a boundary or limitation, is part and parcel within all that is, but all that is not subject to it. Thus then questions like, well, did the infinite universe have a beginning? No, because it's not subject to time. Time is subject to all that is. So there may be beginnings and endings within all that is, but all that is not subject to a beginning or an ending. It is above and beyond and outside all of those things, and there is nothing beyond, above, or outside that. Nothing beyond, above, or outside all that is. So it's not subject to anything. Everything is subject to it. So infinity is greater than the finite. The finite is always less than the infinite, and because both concepts exist in your imagination, both are real and are expressed in a variety of ways, but it is clear, because of the greater than, less than symbol, that infinity is never less than the finite. Whatever concepts are finite are always less than infinity, within it, contained within it. Does that make sense? And again, this is a logical extrapolation in the science of the obvious. 1, 2, 3. To again express it another way, we have many times talked about the idea of reincarnation, and again, from our perspective, it is not that it is really reincarnation, because space-time are illusions. Everything only exists now, and that the idea is that you do have other lives, but they're going on right now at the same time, in a different vibration. Again, in the same way that you have multiple channels on your television, and just because you're looking at one at any particular moment doesn't mean the other programs aren't there at the same time. They are, but you only see what you're tuned to at any given moment. So, all your lives are like that. Past is a euphemism. Future is a euphemism. The idea is that everything's going on all at once. Therefore, again, in the logical extrapolations of the science of the obvious, if you know from the beginning everything is one thing and only exists now, then when the topic of reincarnation comes up, based on your understanding of the one and the now, the only logical interpretation of the concept of reincarnation is that all the lives exist now. It's a simple, logical, obvious extrapolation. One builds to the other. One leads to the other. This is the science of the obvious, and why certain things from our perspective are simply, clearly obvious. Because we understand the first principle is so, we understand how all the other concepts must exist in order to fit the first principle. So if there is only here and now, you know that and know everything is one, then all of your lives, all of them exist now, and they are also, no matter how many of them you have, no matter how each of them may consider themselves to be the only physical one, they are all sharing the same one particle. Because again, remember, time and space are illusions created by the path of the particle, the geometric path of that particle. And therefore, it is only a degree of the particle crossing itself that creates the concept of a different frequency that makes it seem as if another life going on simultaneously is actually happening in another time frame. The past, the future, another dimension, so on and so forth. It is just the way the particle arranges itself that determines how you perceive that. If you were to allow yourself, and again, here's another effect that could happen. It may or may not. It's not necessarily something to strive for. Let it happen naturally if it does, because if it happens, it will serve you. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't need to. But just to fire your imaginations, when you begin doing the exercise we talked about and visualizing, as you saw here, the idea that the particle that makes all of you up is the same one particle that makes up everything else, and you do that relationship visualization, you may also actually start to perceive some of your other simultaneous life selves. And you may actually start to perceive them physically. Don't freak out. I will tell you a little secret. Not often, but sometimes, now and then, some of you have already done this and didn't know it. You might have seen another person somewhere standing, and they might have looked out of place, out of time. It might actually have been your perception of one of your other lives for that moment. This may become more common as you get into a more unified understanding of your relationship to creation. The degree to which this may or may not happen, again, is simply relative to the degree to which you may need to know or perceive this for your particular life path here. But if you also look into many of what you call your historical accounts, where different people in the past talk of seeing strange beings, spiritual beings, angels, and what have you, they may from time to time be seeing things that have nothing to do with you, but from time to time they may actually be seeing you. A future life from their point of view that is going on simultaneously, and they may simply relate that they had a vision and they saw this strange being dressed very strangely, and then it disappeared. Might have been you. Maybe wearing spandex or something. So, sometimes you may actually come across a historical account that describes something like this, and all of a sudden understand it is something that was perceived from that time to this time. Even some, not all, even some of what you now in your now today time call UFOs are yourselves in ships in the future. They're not all aliens in that sense. So, when you learn to use craft that way, when you learn to tunnel through space and time, you will find that many times you will overlap many different frequencies, and you will be perceived by some of your own other lives as UFOs. And they may think, oh, there are aliens, and don't even know that it's themselves in another life in that craft. So, it's all very flexible in this way. Does this make sense? Yes. All right. This is all designed, bit by bit, at whatever pace you are comfortable, to slowly dissolve the borders and barriers you have placed in your mind through certain definitions that you have been taught. And bit by bit, in replacing and transforming those borders and barriers in your mind, you will allow yourself to begin to dissolve and understand you are all connected, all one thing, and you will start to perceive your reality that way. Do not freak out. If you're going to freak, freak in. And as always, laughter is very centering and will allow you to dissolve these barriers with greater ease. April?
Yes.
Would you like to remove the next number? What do we have?
Space-time.
Space-time. Would you also like to remove the 4A and B? What do we have there? A little space-time graph. All right. Now, let us explain. We have talked about this briefly before. You may sit, thank you very much. The idea is, you already know from what you call your science of relativity, or some of you may not know this, that there is an effect in your reality called time dilation. that when you move, let's say in a spaceship, faster and faster and faster and faster, and approach what you call the speed of light, which is simply, in a sense, the border of your particular reality. Doesn't mean you can't actually travel faster. It's just the border of your particular reality, just the threshold. But in your physical reality, while you travel in your physical reality up to the speed of light, the phenomenon called time dilation is noticed to occur. What this simply means is, the faster you move in space, the slower you move in time. Time slows down. This is what creates the twin paradox, as many of your scientists have expressed it, so that if you imagine there are two twins that are the same age, and one steps into a spacecraft and goes out into the stars and travels very close to the speed of light, time for them on the ship will slow down to the point that when they come back, they may actually be many, many, many years younger than the twin who stayed on Earth, who will have aged in the meantime. The idea to understanding this is to understanding space-time as a 100% idea. There can only be 100% space-time. So, if you are traveling at 50% of the speed of light, then the idea is that you are using up that much space. There's only 50% of time left. So you can only experience half the time. The closer you travel to the speed of light, you're using up more and more of the space of space-time, and there is less and less of the time left. So you only experience a little bit of it. So if you're traveling at 99%, you're only experiencing 1% of time and 99% of space. Conversely, when you're standing perfectly still, as most of you are right now, you're experiencing almost all of time and very little of space at all. You're not moving around. So it's always a shared idea. Whatever you use of time, you can only have that much space left. Whatever you use of space, you only have that much time to use. The graph shows you this in this way. The line is all of time at one end, all of space at the other end. And when you start moving and expanding your use of space from zero into a cone that widens, then you have very little time left. But when you go the other way and use all of the idea the other way, then the cone moves in the other direction. It's just an expansion cone. I'm using very little here, I'm using a lot here. Using very little of this when I'm using a lot of this, but when I'm using a little of this, I'm using a lot of that. So it's just a double cone going in this way to show you when you are using a little bit of this or a lot of that. You follow me so far? All right. Now, this is also the key to building a space-time antenna. A device that actually uses space-time energy that you can then learn to translate into different forms of energy if you wish, such as electricity or light or heat or whatever you wish to do with it. The space-time antenna actually takes the form of this graph, of the two intersecting cones. So if you imagine in your mind right now, let's say made out of a spiral copper wire or a spiral tube. Imagine starting on the ground and imagine bringing the tube around in a circle and then spiraling it upward, getting smaller and smaller in circumference. You're describing a cone. You're spiraling up to the tip of the cone. However high you want the cone to be, doesn't matter. However wide you want to start, doesn't matter right now for the purpose of this illustration. It will matter later in terms of fine-tuning the geometry to get the right effect. But right now, just for the purpose of this illustration, just imagine starting on the ground, start spiraling your tube around and around and around, smaller, smaller, till you have a cone made up out of a spiraled tube. At the top, at the very tip of the cone, then take that tube and move it out to the same diameter as the base of the cone and start spiraling your way down through the other cone. So when you spiral it up, leave some gaps in between the tube so that when you spiral down, you can go through those gaps and actually have the two cones interpenetrating. until you get all the way down. Now you're inside the base of the first cone, creating a downward-facing cone, and you get down to the tip at the bottom, and then bring that out and connect it to the base of the other cone. Now you have two interpenetrating cones, one facing up, one pointing down. In a sense, it's almost like the idea of the Solomon seal, or what you now call the Jewish star, the six-pointed star. If you look at it simply flat on, it will sort of appear a little bit like this idea, although not quite exactly. But it's the idea of two interpenetrating triangles. When you create this kind of a resonant device and you do it where the cones are actually angled at their apices at 33 degrees, you will be able to actually have a space-time antenna. Depending upon the quality of your material, the number of windings, the size of the cone, and what have you, and other conditions, you can actually cause this cone with a little bit of an electrical charge to start resonating at a certain frequency that will amplify that energy by drawing down from space-time energy and thus then giving out more energy than you're putting in. So, this diagram, this space-time diagram, shows you, literally graphically, how to create a space-time antenna for those of you who might be interested in playing with this idea as a fun home experiment. Well, this is where our children start. So have some fun. Explore with it if you wish. It's up to you. Or use this idea by imagining it simply in your imagination and play with what that shape does when you get it in your mind's eye in terms of opening you up to other levels of communication as well, because you can use it that way too. You don't have to physicalize it to get an effect within your own consciousness, but you can physicalize it to get an effect in physical reality. So play with it however you wish. If you also do it in your mind, and you see that shape in your mind, if you can also learn to view it three-dimensionally and start turning it, rotating it in your mind, and see it in different angles, that will absolutely heighten and increase your ability to tap into other dimensional frequencies as well. So play with this however you wish. And have fun. Have fun. Have fun. Now, at the moment, take a deep breath, everyone. Let it out. Take another deep breath. And let it out. And a third deep breath. Let it out. Just relax. Are you having a good time, class? Yes. All right. Now, I believe it is time for something a little different. So, April.
Yes.
Yes, you may.
What you're talking about
Are there any human beings that have mastered what we are talking
who
about?
can travel at the space of time, and
Yes.
it would appear that they're just moving
There
very
are
slowly.
a few, and there have been a few throughout history. You generally refer to them as avatars. You understand? The idea of many of your great teachers, the idea of many powerful indigenous shamans, many of them can do these things. You follow me? So yes, the answer is yes. Does that answer your question? Thank you. That was a question. Would you like to ask another?
Yes, I read about this remark on the internet, and I've seen exactly what you're talking about, an animation.
Yes.
And they talk about the triangles rotating in opposition,
Yes.
and they talk about women having the triangles situated one way, and men having the triangles situated another way.
That will depend. Merkaba, rotating Merkabas in your mind's eye. This is also an effective tool to key you in to different dimensional states. It doesn't really much matter which way it goes as long as you believe in your mind's eye that it feels instinctively correct. You follow me?
Yeah.
Does that help you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask a clarification?
Yes.
You speak of an object moving to the speed of light. an object moving to the speed of light
Yes.
as 100% of space-time, whereas in Einstein's terminology, he would say that space has become infinite
Yes.
and time has become zero.
Yes.
So what is the relationship between the 100% and infinite?
Well, again, if you are in 100% space, you are in zero time. Does that not make sense? If you're infinite in space, you're zero in time.
You're zero in time, but the idea that space becomes infinite
Yes.
is not quite the same to me as 100%, which sounds to me like a finite concept.
Well, when we say 100% in this context, we mean 100% of space. All there is. Infinite. 100% of all there is. Does that make sense now?
If the universe, if we're speaking of an infinite universe rather than a finite universe,
But we
in
already
Einstein
discussed
terms.
that it's infinite, didn't we?
I understand.
All right. So
Thank
in
you.
that context, that's what we're talking about. 100% means infinite, because we're talking about 100% of all there is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Now then, any more questions? Yes.
How can we achieve the Merkaba?
Repeat that.
Can we achieve Merkaba at this lifetime? Can we like travel like around and like space?
Allowing
and-
yourself to achieve many of these states is possible in this lifetime. It is up to you. It may or may not be probable, depending upon what process you are going through, but that's still under your control. So, yes, it's all possible.
All right. How can we do it? Like
We are
step by
talking
step?
about all of that.
All right. Thank
All
you.
of these things we are discussing, each in a sense is a piece of an understanding that in combination, in whole, will allow you to do what you're talking about.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, yes?
If we made one of these,
Yes.
and then we sparked it with an electric current, to
Yes.
get it going,
Yes.
we don't need to keep resparking it.
No.
So then it would become a self-generating generator.
Yes. Yes.
So couldn't we use that in this energy crisis?
Yes. That's why I said go play with it. All right? Thank you. Have fun.
Bashar, may I ask one more question, please?
Yes.
The symbol that you're showing us, this equation of the two cones,
Yes.
and the shape of the two cones becoming something that generates energy.
Yes.
How does the idea in a graph translate to the reality of the physical movement?
You are expressing the idea of how reality actually creates more reality. It creates it through an expanding spiral modality. It is partly a description of the actual geometric form that the single particle moves along to create all the things it creates. So you're tapping into the underlying form, the underlying template that the single particle uses to expand all of creation on, the sacred spiral. Make sense? I'll take that as a no. All right. The idea is an idea of expansion. The idea is also that in physical reality, you experience things cyclically. So the combination of a spiral expanding in cycles is the idea of a cone. Does that make sense? Therefore, that gives you an actual device or a shape that taps directly into how things actually grow and expand. And thus, then you're tapping into a natural template by using that form. Does that make sense?
Yes, does it matter which way the spiral goes, clockwise, counterclockwise?
Clockwise for you. All right? Now, at this time, let us go, April.
Yes.
You will see that there are, on the left, an A, B, C, D type blue paper. Yes? All right. Allow yourself to move the A What have you got?
Question mark.
Question mark. All right. Go back up. Now, in the section above, where there are blue, yes?
Yes.
Is there a 1?
Yes.
Remove that. What have you got?
Months.
Months. All right. Thank you. You may sit. Here is a question concerning months. Again, those that may already know this, please do not answer. But let's take one volunteer.
I'll do it, Bashar.
All right, stand up. If you know the answer to this already, say nothing. All right? All right? I'm talking to the volunteer.
Oh, yes.
If you know the answer to this, say nothing.
Okay.
And sit down, and we'll take another volunteer who does not know the answer. All right? All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you paying attention?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. Are you sure you're sure? All right. On your planet, in your culture, some of your months have 30 days.
Yes.
Some of your months have 31 days.
Yes.
Which months have 28?
February, 1 month.
Stop.
Oh, you told me not to say. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
That's all right. The point actually is you really weren't paying attention, because the answer is they all have 28 days.
Yes. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect demonstration. This is the idea of perception and being led by your assumptions. The way the question is asked sets up the assumption of how you think you need to answer. In this case, oh, well, yes, of course, February, 28 days. But that's not actually the way the question was asked. So, part of the exercises going on today are also all about really having discernment and really paying attention to actually the way something is appearing, not only outwardly but inwardly, so that you can really discern how it's being asked and recognize when you are moving to a simple assumption or when you're really paying attention to what's being said, what's being asked, so that you can arrive at a conclusion that works more smoothly for you. You follow along? Otherwise, this is a perfect demonstration of how belief systems and definitions cause confusion, because they will lead you down a certain path, because all beliefs, all definitions are self-perpetuating, self-fulfilling. They will come in a form that makes it seem, in many cases, that no other belief is possible, that no other conclusion is possible, that no other outcome is possible. And when you hold on to certain beliefs and wind up at a certain place, it's not because that's the only place you can actually wind up, but it may be the only place the particular belief you're holding made it seem that it was possible to get to. And so the idea is that anytime you may feel stuck like that, where you understand you may want to get to a different conclusion or a different space, but that you seem to be getting to the same one and it doesn't seem to be working, it's not really bringing you the full realization, it's not harmoniously aligned with what's being asked, always there is an opportunity for you to realize that that must indicate you have a belief system that is actually structured in a way that leads you to that conclusion. And thus then, you can back up and find out what the nature and structure of that belief system is that would wind up with that conclusion, whereas you can then restructure it so that you can go to other directions, other conclusions, other answers that allow you to really discern what's being asked in your thoughts, in your consciousness. It gets you to practice really listening to yourself and not just assuming that what you think you know is actually what you really know or what you would even want to know. So, these little brain teasers are for the purpose of helping loosen you up, jar you from your assumptions and expectations, get you to think a little bit, as you say, outside the box, and sometimes get you to forget that there even was a box to begin with. And perhaps sometimes even take you so far as to get to a place where you don't even know what a box is. so that you don't even recognize that anymore, or that you are creating the box in the shape that you need it to be that matches what you prefer your reality to be and you to experience. Now, we'll do this a little bit from time to time as we go along, just to shake things up a little bit and have some fun. All right?
Yes.
All right. All right?
Yes.
Thank you. Again, want to make sure class is awake. Take a deep breath. All right. One more time. All right. And one more time yet again. All right. Now, April,
Yes, sure.
would you stand up and face the audience? Now, I just want you to keep track, take count in a sense, in general, all right?
Okay.
What I would like to know is who gets their hand up first? No. Who do you think? All right. All right. Hands are still up?
No.
Hands up. Who put them up? Now, I would like to know who puts their hand down first.
Sure, it's happening all at once.
Is it?
Well, it seems like it is.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you. That's very interesting. You may sit down. Thank you for your assistance. Now, what was the point of this little exercise? Anyone have a guess? Perception, timing, what you're looking for. Anything else? Paying attention to what?
To what's going on.
All right. And did everyone pay attention?
Our eyes only see things that are happening at a certain.
All right. Now, this in and of itself is very interesting. Look at all the different perceptions people got out of this little exercise, all the different perspectives of what it is that this exercise reflected to them. Here's something else this exercise was a reflection of. I never actually asked anyone to raise their hands. I just said, I wonder who could put their hand up first. Never said, raise your hands. It's a little bit of a version of Simon Says. All right? Again, pay attention. Assumption. Never said, raise your hands. It's all right that you did, because it is all right for you to act spontaneously on whatever you feel triggers that spontaneity. And by doing so, you allowed people to have very different perspectives of the same event, which reflected to them the things they needed to know and they needed to look at that particular moment. So it all worked fine. Nothing was right, nothing was wrong, just different perspectives, including this one. No one asked you to raise your hand, but thank you for doing so. And thank you for not. Now then, would you like to go and pull the next number off the board?
You're talking about 5?
5 is a good number. This is the number of humanity.
Guess what it says?
What does it say?
Total change.
Total change. Thank you. Now, you can pull off the 5A and B as well.
Okay, here we go.
And what do we have here?
Well, it looks kind of like some cogs,
4 little gears.
and they're labeled A, B, C, and D.
Thank you.
And the very first one has an arrow over it like it's turning.
Exactly. Thank you. You may sit. Now, again, we have described this before. The idea that every change is a total change. This starts to make very obvious sense, again, when you go back through to the beginning and use the science of the obvious, one thing leading to another. If everything is literally made out of one particle, then any time you exercise your consciousness on the matrix that is created by the particle that, in a sense, is you, then you will understand that any change you make must, by definition, change the path of that particle in some way, shape, or form. And if you change the path of that particle in some way, shape, or form, you have changed everything, everywhere, all at once. Just like all the little gears are all connected, you cannot turn the first gear without turning them all. It can't be done. So, every change you make, any change you make, what? Every change you make, any change you make, no matter how small, changes everything. What do we mean when we say changes everything? More literally, what we mean is every single possible configuration of every possible universe already exists in a static form. What you experience as a change is your consciousness shifting from one to the other in much the same way that you change channels on your television to go from one program to another. The idea is that every single multiple parallel reality is simply made up of a series of still shots, if you will. Again, we understand this is a crude analogy, but it will do. The idea is to understand that what you perceive as motion, even this motion, even this represents going through a multitude of infinite universes. Because this is a universe, that's 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 a universe. Makes you giddy, doesn't it? Literally, you are changing universes all the time, flickering through them with your consciousness at such an incredible, shall we say, rate of speed that you don't even realize you're doing it. You're doing it all the time. You're doing it right now. You've been doing it forever. You will keep on doing it. Therefore, what are the implications of this recognition? Everything is connected. Everything is one thing. When you change something, everything changes. By understanding that every change is a total change, miracles are possible. Anything goes. The degree to which you understand this concept means that in one moment of experience, you can be completely one way, and in the next moment of experience, you can be completely another way. Or, in one moment of experience, you can be completely one way. In another moment of experience, you can be a little bit different. In the next, a little bit different. In the next, a little bit different. In the next, a little bit different. But even though you may be using the shift to make it appear as if you're simply being a little bit different, in fact, you're actually totally different, but using the total difference to make it only seem as if you're just a little bit different. The rate of change is simply you being willing to engineer a shift to a parallel reality universe that is as different as you prefer it to be without necessarily creating a series of successive steps. It's all how you define that shift, all how you define yourself in that next universe, so that you will only take yourself to the universe that holds that definition you hold of yourself. And that's what you will experience. So if you have a definition of change that says, I can only change a little bit, or it's difficult to change, or I can only change slowly, what you will then be doing is actually popping through completely different whole universes that are very similar to the one you left from. Or you can say, I am totally different, and you can shift to a universe that then is very, very different from the one you shifted from. It's really up to you, and it's really up to your belief systems and definitions as to exactly how you experience that rate of change, that rate of shifting. But all those realities all exist right now. It's up to you to change the channel. And you can go from channel 1 to channel 2 to channel 3 to channel 4 to channel 5, channel 6, channel 7, or you can simply go channel 1, channel 10. You can do that. And you can even go channel 1, channel 10, channel 2, channel 5, channel 1, channel 10, channel 9, channel 7, channel 8, channel 20, channel 30, channel 100, channel 1. You can do that too. And you do that all the time. Many times when you say, oh, I haven't been able to change, I haven't been able to make this change. Many times you actually have changed, but then you've simply changed back. That's all. So again, it's a matter of really understanding the concept of state of being, and when you're in a certain state of being, you really are in a different reality. You really are a different person. Please, 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 please take me literally. Please take me literally. This isn't a metaphor. This isn't a metaphor. You literally are a different person when you make any shift at all. Literally a different person. So, whatever you define, truly define that person to be, that's the total reality that exists as well. If you suddenly define yourself to be a person that has a very different behavior pattern than the other person you were a moment ago, or again, perhaps more precisely, if you define that your consciousness is now perceiving itself through the matrix of a different universal reality than it did a moment ago, that reality is a total reality with its own sense of history, its own sense of its own future, and it bears no relationship whatsoever to the other universe you were in, unless you have defined in that universe that it contains a similar component that makes it seem as if it has a similarity to the universe you were in. So again, if you feel that things are difficult to change or they change more slowly than you would prefer, all you're simply doing is creating a new whole, total universe that has a lot of similarity to the one you were just in. But you don't have to do that. If you do that, however, that might be a clue to you that you may have belief systems that says, I'm not comfortable going any faster than that, changing any more radically than that. Why not? And then it's up to you to explore your belief systems and your definitions to find out why the pace is what the pace is. Because it may actually serve you in a number of ways. Just because sometimes things change slowly doesn't mean that's a negative thing. You yourself may require that pace for a variety of positive reasons. So allow yourself to truly examine why things are happening in the way they are by first allowing yourself to know that whatever is happening is what needs to be happening because it's a true reflection of your state of being at that moment. A true reflection. And when you get in touch with what it is a reflection of in terms of your beliefs and your definitions, then you will have far more conscious leeway and awareness to make the next change, define the next change in the way that you prefer to, or closer to what you prefer than you did before. And you may then feel yourself accelerating, things changing more rapidly, more synchronicity coming into your life, however it expresses itself. But the key is to understand that you already change totally every time you change, anytime you change. So it's not about having to learn to change. It's not about having to manipulate one little piece of the puzzle here and another little piece of the puzzle there. Every move you make changes everything, everywhere, every when. It's really up to you to simply determine what kind of total change you prefer, and to examine what it is within you that will allow you or not allow you to give yourself permission to experience that change. Now, this is why we have also called this idea the 13th step. We understand on your program with respect to the concept of addiction that there are such things as 12-step programs, and these are all well and good. We are in no way, shape, or form invalidating. We understand they help many people. We are also adding at the same time this concept of the 13th step, that when an individual, not someone fooling themselves, not someone pretending, but when an individual truly understands that every change is a total change. For example, someone with what you call an addiction, someone who chooses something again and again, they say they don't prefer, yet they are still motivated to choose it, that's an addict, no matter what it is. When you choose that over and over again without knowing why, in that sense, that's an addiction. The idea is that if you know every change is a total change, and you actually understand that when you change, you become a completely different person. You are capable of defining that new person as someone who does not have an addiction and never did. That's why if you actually use the 13th step when dealing with the concept of addiction, you will actually get to a place where you will be a person who doesn't even have the concept of having to worry about whether they will get the urge again to fall back into that pattern, because the point is if you're truly another person, you never had the pattern, you never had the addiction, and you will never feel the urge because it's not part of the makeup of your universe. Is that clear? Now, again, the degree of efficacy with which you use this concept is really up to you, and it may, when you begin to play with it, spark a process within you of getting in touch with the belief systems within you that may be connected to the idea of choices that might be read as addictions, so on and so forth. That's all right. The point is, if you start to work with this concept of ultimate change, total change, the 13th step, it will begin to allow you the freedom to understand. You do not have to fear. You do not have to fear that something can somehow reach out from the past and control you, that you are, in that sense, controlled by the things you were, and that you have no power against them. If you want to create that reality experience, you can. But remember, you're creating the experience of seeming to be powerless, and you're using your power to create it. So, there's the paradox. You need to understand that it's simply a matter of how you define yourself, and how you define yourself is what's going to determine where your power flows and in what way it manifests. It's as simple as that. So when you know every change is a total change, you can really start fresh, you can really start from scratch, you can really clean the slate and allow yourself the freedom, the permission, and the freedom to really know you are a new person with a completely new understanding and idea, and anything that was no longer is in that state for the you are right now. Make sense?
Yes.
All right? Simple physics, science of the obvious. That's all this is. That's all this is. Let it sink in. You don't have to get it all now. You don't have to get it all at once. As we said, every one of these ideas is a piece of a big picture, and the idea is to use them all holistically. And this is why we are stressing, shall we say, the idea, underscoring, shall we say, the idea of one leads to the other, the science of the obvious. If you know this, then you know that. Because when you have that foundation, when you have that spine, when you have that core, anytime you may find yourself getting a little bit confused, a little bit fuzzy on one particular concept or another, one particular tool or another, all you need to do is follow the spine all the way back to the beginning. Everything is one thing. It literally is just one thing. From that knowledge, from that knowing, go back down the spine in succession, clarifying on the way, making sure everything is based on the initial principle, and that will act as a clarifying mechanism for whatever it is you are dealing with at that moment. Does that make sense? All right. Are there any questions right now? All right.
How does